Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. This is behind the scenes look at the poem that I wrote called Alarm. Okay, I'll show you a little bit. This is the video called Alarm. And, so that's the video there. And as it says, on a regular Friday night in ATL. So I'm going to discuss the science behind this poem called Alarm. Okay, let's start with the situation. As you can see inside the video, I have a picture here of Nancy's. It was a regular Friday night, October the 20th at Nancy's. And I had a disagreement with my friend Lady. Lady claims that I disrespected Marla. I didn't speak and I didn't even acknowledge her existence. I said that I turned around and I spoke. We've called several friends and we still disagree. So I had to move forward. So I went to work the next day and I thought about it and I decided that I should write a poem for clarification. Many times I find that if I can't come to some type of resolution, I can write a poem and the answer would be in the poem some kind of way. So I wrote the poem and this is on Sunday, October the 22nd. So what I did, I emailed the poem to myself. As you can see here, that's the original right there, October 22nd, and this is my formal apology to Marla. That's the finished one. So the problem I had with the poem was, even though it was okay, but sometimes poetry can be stagnant, and we live in a video world and a world of a lot going on. So I wanted to add a visual element, but I wasn't sure. And what I did, I thought about Marla, 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 alarm, alarm, alarm. So as you can see, I said, you know what? Alarm is just Marla shaped, is reworded. So I said, you know what? I can use that visual element. So that is how I came up with the visual element. So I took that, and that's why Alarm became the title of the poem. Okay, so now we're going to go over here. This is Dropbox paper. And here's the original poem on this side. As you can see, it's not that long. Here's the final poem on this side, a little bit longer, a little more developed. And as you see, I bold the beginning of each stanza so that I would know where the stanza are. And as you can see, that's short, that's a little longer, that's short, and that's real long. So that's not really balanced like it should be. And, having the first line, that's short, and then this is four. So this is two, this is four lines, this is two. That's not balanced, and that's bad structure. So that doesn't work. So now let's talk about concepts and metaphors because that's the backbone of all poetry. That's what makes poems really. That's when you take a poem from being good and entertaining to greatness. And the original poem is nice. I mean, it sounds good, but it's not really focused. So, like here, why doesn't the alarm sound when you smile? Am I so far off track that I can't recognize heaven's style? That's nice. Okay, her smile, you saying that it reminds you of heaven, that's a great concept, but it's not powerful. So I had to map out the poem over here. This is the original on the left, original poem. Sound, smile, track, and style. And as you can see, I went each line and I took out the most powerful words in that line. And this is how I mapped the poem out. But the problem I have up here is that the original poem does not have a moral premise. And the moral premise is a tool created by Stanley Williams. It was originally designed for screenplays, but I use it for everything, any creative art. And what I did, I had to come up with a moral premise. So I thought about it. I said, let's go back. Let's look at the poem. Let's look at the poem. So I said, why doesn't the alarm sound when I meet a day star? Because I was also inspired by Blade. When, he walks in, the vampire's like, oh, the day. And I was like, stars come out at night. If Marla is a star, then at night natively, then why not make her a day star? Because that's a different type of concept. I said, let's go with it. But then the problem is, what rhymes with day star? And I said, pace car. Oh yeah. And, I looked it up. Pace cars, no, those are cars that go around the track when they race. And I said, hold on. Here's two concepts here. She's a pace car for God, which means that she defines the speed and frequency of heaven. That in itself is a powerful concept. I said, you know what? Let's see what that sounds like. So that's how I got to that part. And when I mapped it out, this is the concept. So now the moral premise for the poem is Marla is God's pace car and the quarry for heaven, revealing his mysteries. That is the moral premise and the whole foundation upon which the poem was written. Okay, so now I've already discussed the pace car and what it means. As the pace car, she defines the frequency and speed upon which heaven works, or upon which heaven operates, for lack of a better word. And then down here, so when you go to the poem, I say that's nice. And, heaven needs you to pace the angels in circles. So that next line defines the pace car and her purpose. So now I come back in the second stanza and I say the angels are startled. Okay, God created the night for you and you keep it starry. So earlier I said she was a day star, but now I'm saying God created the night for her. So she's, as the pace car, God created the night. So now there's no, it was, if you want to really be metaphorically speaking, it was originally just all daylight. And he created the night for her to have more importance in heaven. And then once night was created, now she's a night star and a day star, which means that she's existing all the time and has importance all the time. So now, when God created eternity, you became heaven's quarry. So now we have to go look up quarry. Quarry means a place, typically a large deep pit from which stone or other materials are or have been extracted. So now, not only is she the pace car and she exists in night and day, but she has become the quarry for heaven. And this is, like you see, is a deep pit from which materials or stone or others are extracted. So that means to get to heaven, you have to go through her. So to extract, or she is like a threshold guarding or the entrance into heaven, which is what people typically think of when they say the word goddess. So those two concepts are how I got to going for the poem. And now that I understand what she is, she's a quarry. So of course the next line is deeper and deeper I'm digging, the more minerals I extract. I'm continuing the metaphor of her being a quarry. And if emotions are blessings, should I count yours as exact? So now she's not only just the pace car, she's the quarry, she's night and day star, and her emotions are blessings to me. So hers are exact. And then I come back and say not exact as measure, but exact as meaning, which means she essentially breathes the divine spark of life into me as a person, as a man. Then I ask, can heaven truly be reborn while I'm still here dreaming? So for her, heaven is home. For me, I'm outside heaven. So I have to dream of heaven. But to get to heaven, I have to go through her. Okay. So now the next line of the poem, I talk about why didn't the alarm sound after you adjusted? So she left heaven and she's here to be with me, to meet me, to be in her space. So she adjusted. And then I asked, am I so far offline your network isn't trusted? And this is, I'm symbolizing the way we always question the good people that we meet in our life. And we always accept the bad, but we play defense on good people. So I'm so far offline, and to be online would mean that I'm in tuned with heaven on this frequency. So I'm offline at this time. So for me, her network isn't trusted. So as you can see, that's how I developed the concepts, and this is how I pushed that concept through to make the poem more powerful than it was originally. Okay, now. And down here, I continued that, the network. So now we're the network is the new concept that we're dealing with in this stanza. So I say, such a shame you just wanted to meet and say hi, not ask for all my passwords or log into my Wi-Fi. You know, as men, we think when we meet someone, you know, for me, the metaphor of passwords, those are secrets, or those are ideas or things that we keep to ourselves that we don't like to share. And here is someone with all these attributes that I'm playing defense on. So, and then log into my Wi-Fi, that means that me and her are in tune. That's what when people say, oh, I met him and we clicked. I met him and it was love at first sight. These are all metaphors that are the same as logging into my Wi-Fi. All these are the same metaphors. They're talking about the same thing. They're just expressed differently. Okay, then next, now that I talked about that, now that we have a reference and we understand this is the problem, now I have to focus on me. And then I say, you know, men can't arrive on time, and damn it if it happened again. So I had to put a little comic relief because the poem is getting very serious and very deep. So I had to put a little comic relief in there. And then once you get the comic relief and get her a sigh of relief and she gets to breathe a little bit, then that's when I put this is me saying sorry. Can we start anew? And that takes us back to the beginning and understanding her in context. So, and then the poem ends right here. So some hear the alarm. So I got hearing and silence. So I have contrast on the last 4 lines. Seeing and refusal. Some people see stuff and refuse to see it. So, and then you know, a woman's taste, and, you know, taste is powerful. Hearing is powerful, but then seeing is more powerful, and tasting is more powerful than that. So from tasting, I block it out. But feeling is the last line. That's the most powerful because it's experience and wisdom all wrapped into one. And I end the poem by saying, but I feel the alarm, and it's simply meeting you. And once again, this is as they say, double entendre, because meeting you, you are the alarm in heaven. And meeting you is I'm meeting the alarm, I'm meeting the pace car, you're the quarry, you're the threshold guardian, and I'm meeting the goddess here. But I'm also meeting a woman that I see in front of me. So it's double layered, and in that context. So I'm meeting the alarm and I'm meeting Marla at the same time. And I think the poem symbolizes that when you meet a woman, especially a black woman, you're meeting more than just a woman. You're meeting a person who is a creator. She might be a mother. She's multi-layered. So you can't just look at her physically and say, that's the woman, that's all she is, because you're disrespecting the context upon what she is. Because as you can see from the beginning, she's God's pace car. She defines the frequency of heaven. She's the quarry, the deepest and darkest parts of heaven. That's her. It's not an abyss. It's an abyss to someone who isn't in the frequency. Because if you're in line with somebody, you don't make love or have, do bind with a woman in light. You usually do it in the darkness, because she is the light. You no longer need external light. She has become the light that you need. So that's why people do things in the dark, because she is the light that you need. So that is the essence, and that's the wrap up and the summary of the poem Alarm. And I hope that it makes sense to you now. So I hope that you've enjoyed this. And when you have time, please go check out the poem itself. Here it is, called Alarm. It only has 7 views. I just released it. But, go check it out and tell me what you think about the poem. Thank you again.